everyone, and welcome to Tabor Talk. So, getting right into this, Dave Chappelle has a new special, so I'm really psyched. I haven't seen it yet. I think, is it streaming now? I don't know. I'm going to play a couple of clips here. They don't have the visuals, but the Young Turks talk about it. Okay, so I loved Dave Chappelle's very controversial special last year, and I actually did a couple of videos on it. And it was kind of a big hit in my channel. And obviously Chappelle's was a big hit, but there was some controversy, right? Actually, the right latched onto it. See, like, oh, this PC culture, and the Republicans were saying, hey, Dave Chappelle is my guy. Okay, Dave Chappelle's new special, which is out right now, coming out right now, I believe, and he's going after the most despicable sleazebag, grifter, dirtbag, Candace Owens. She is, I mean, these journalists, if you want to call her a journalist, but people on the right like Sean Hannity and Rush, they're disgusting and all that, the Tucker Carlson, but she is probably the worst. She's disgusting. And you know, she seems like a kind of a nice person, friendly. She was on Joe Rogan. You kind of like her, but she's just exploiting this because she's a young black female. And I know a lot of guys are like, hey, Mike, see, I got a black friend. Like, here's a black person who says that there's no discrimination. Okay, let me play this clip here from the Young Turks, and I'll talk a little bit about it. And by the way, you may want to watch Candace's clip on George Floyd. It's fucking gross, man. It's gross. I'll put that in the comment section. But let me play a little bit of this. Excuse me. The Young Turks, and they're talking about Dave Chappelle's special and this fucking scumbag, Candace Owens. Here we go.
Dave Chappelle has just released another Netflix special, and this one takes a much more serious tone. It's titled 8 minutes, 46 seconds, and of course, it's dedicated to George Floyd and calling out the police brutality that many protesters are, protesting against right now in various cities throughout the country. So this special is available to everyone. Even if you don't have Netflix, it was posted on the YouTube page for Netflix.
Okay.
Netflix is a joke.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's for their comedy content, obviously. But in it, Dave Chappelle calls out all sorts of unsavory, divisive, terrible figures who have either turned a blind eye to racism or, more importantly, have engaged in racism themselves through their commentary. People like Candace Owens, Laura Ingraham.
Laura Ingram's a piece of shit,
before
too.
we talk about that, I actually wanted to share one portion of his special that really hit me.
It's grosser with Candace because, you know, she's a young black female who's
verbatim.
just...
Try to keep it together while I do so. So he's talking about George Floyd, and here's what he said. This man, Derek Chauvin, kneeled on a man's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Can you imagine that? This kid thought he was going to die. He knew he was going to die. He called for his mother. He called for his dead mother.
His dead mother.
I've only
oh
seen
my
that
God.
once in my life. My father on his deathbed called for his grandmother.
Can you imagine?
When I watched that tape, I understood this man knew he was going to die. And that was really the part of the video. I mean, the whole video was horrendous and difficult to watch. But when George Floyd was calling for his mother, I couldn't keep it together at all when I heard him calling for his mother, and then just seeing the unbelievable evil in Derek Chauvin, just not caring and
unbelievable,
just kneeling.
Let me just pause it for a second about calling for your mother. That really is a thing. When you feel like you're going to die. Ken Burns' special in World War II, there was a guy there who was, where was he, in Okinawa? I don't know, but he was describing how his friend died in the night. He was wounded, and it took like forever for him to die. But he goes, you know, like you always hear people say when you're on your deathbed, you cry out to mom, and he goes, this guy was calling out for his mother. I mean, it's fucking heart-wrenching. And I know, even myself, I've been very, very sick. I'm not going to get into it here, but I've had a near-death experience and all that. And I know, like, the same thing, for whatever reason, mama, it's like a instinctual sort of thing. Okay, I just wanted to point that out. That's really interesting. So let me just continue on. Here's Anna. I love Anna. Isn't she the best?
Nearly 9 minutes. But anyway, it's a powerful special. Yes, there are comedic moments, Cenk, but there's a lot of serious and important commentary as well.
Yeah, look, the great thing about celebrities, although ironically he says celebrities speaking out is not necessary in this special, and he calls out Don Lemon for...
Let me pause this again. I'm going to be doing... I'm going to be doing a video on celebrities speaking out. I know a lot of people on the right are always saying, hey, you're a football player, you're a comedian, stick to your shit, you have no business talking about politics. I completely disagree with that. Okay, no more interruptions. I'll play this out. Ready?
One, it's ironic because he's a celebrity who's speaking out. And two, it's making a difference. Because, look, that line about George Floyd saying mama as he was dying... when we covered it on the first day, we could barely keep it together, when we talked about it. Then Killer Mike, I thought, had the most powerful speech during the Atlanta protests, and he also called that out. But when Dave Chappelle does it, since honestly he's a bigger celebrity than even Killer Mike, people are like, oh my God, that's such a good point. Yeah, he said mama. Oh, that is powerful. So he got people to pay attention to that, and that's right. And the lack of humanity in Chauvin and the other three cops that are standing there to hear that and not have the instinctual reaction we all had. I mean, not just Chappelle and Killer Mike and us, you guys, when you hear that, I would have thought any human being would go, oh my God, he's about to die. I mean, when I saw it on the table, I'm like, he's about to die. You got to get off his neck.
I know.
You got to get off his neck. And the bystanders are saying
my wife can't watch it.
The only ones who didn't have that human reaction were the cops. That's just a fact.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So one other thing that I appreciated about it, and I highly recommend you guys watch the full special. It's so good. We're used to people like us calling out the Laura Ingrams of the world and the Candace Owens of the world. And I personally have been struggling with seeing individuals in my personal life, old friends, people I've known through school, whatever, posting that disgusting Candace Owens
She's
video
fucking
where
gross.
She defames and smears
She
George
is a
Floyd.
scumbag.
And it's been so tough to stomach that because
you are an awful
right?
human being,
Candace
Candace
Owens.
Owens.
The majority of people, if you're not paying close attention to politics, you don't know who Candace Owens is. You don't know that she's a grifter who's literally being paid to say the disgusting things that she says. And so people think oh, here's a black woman who has her own thoughts on what happened to George Floyd. Let me go ahead and share this. It felt so good to have someone like Dave Chappelle call her out for who she is and what she is. Because honestly, I haven't really seen any high profile people do that. She's been able to run her mouth and put out all sorts of defamatory
The fucking Republicans love her.
About victims.
Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson.
Victims in general.
Fox News.
She's only been challenged
She's fucking gross.
People like us. And, for all the applause we get for our platform, the truth is we're not viewed by as many people as Dave Chappelle, clearly. So it's just it's a relief to have someone call her out on such a high level and, basically call her out for what she is.
Yeah, and of course,
I'll play you just 30 seconds more. Listen to this.
About celebrities. So every anchor on CNN cares what Dave Chappelle says. And that's why they have a bigger platform, and it's not necessarily even the viewership by itself. It's the amplification that celebrities bring to things. And so, like it or not, I think they have an extra responsibility. I mean, I go back to Democracy Spring, where we did a protest to get money out of politics. More people got arrested than has ever been arrested in Capitol Hill history doing civil disobedience. Not one media source other than the Young Turks cared. And then Rosario Dawson, who is phenomenal and a wonderful progressive, showed up on the last day, and then all the media showed up. Oh my God, Rosario Dawson is getting arrested. So that's the shallow world we live in, and it's just the reality. I honestly, the part where Dave Chappelle calls out Candace Owens and Laura Ingraham, in my opinion, was super mediocre. I'm keeping it real.
Really?
And, yeah. I think what he said about George Floyd was really powerful, but his calling out of Candace Owens and Laura Ingraham was, okay. And when we say people like us, I want to be clear. It's not like everyone on Twitter immediately knew when Laura Ingraham, for example, says shut up and dribble to LeBron James, but at the same time turns around and says Drew Brees' opinion as an athlete needs to be respected, that's a giant hypocrisy. It didn't take us to figure that out. Everybody figured that out. Dave didn't even mention that, right? He just kind of insulted both of them. I'm glad he did, right? But it wasn't like some trenchant observation where you're like, oh man, and Chappelle does have that.
Yeah, that's true.
He has that and that's how he got to be as big as he is, because he's amazing at those observations.
Totally.
In this case, it was just okay, but it had such a great impact that I want to thank him from the bottom of my heart. I'll give you one depressing note about Candace Owens. My wife got friends,
Listen to this.
friends and family from as far away as Taiwan and China saying that they had seen the Candace Owens video and asking her, oh, it turns out African Americans in America don't like George Floyd.
Oh my God.
I was like, no. The only video they saw from a black person in America was Candace Owens.
Isn't that crazy?
And that's why they do that propaganda.
I'll put this in the link. You don't want to watch the whole show, you know. You could go yourself to the actual channel. Okay, so there you go. By the way, closing remarks here. Dave Chappelle's probably my favorite living stand-up comic. He really is the best. Perhaps even all-time. My all-time favorite stand-up comedian is George Carlin. But I like Seinfeld too. I guess as far as a living comedian, and Dave Chappelle. So there you go. I'm over 11 minutes. Go watch the Dave Chappelle show. I'm going to. And Candace Owens is a despicable dirtbag. Okay, good friends, good books, and a sleepy conscience. Peace, love, and understanding here on Tabor Talk.